to the computer. That's working. Yay. I hope everyone received a reminder email. I put it in the Facebook group that we have, all the things. We have a new email system, and Beverly is like in word of prayer over it. It's not. She just sent me a note. She's like, "Can I be completely honest with you?" And I was like, "Of course." And she's like, "I don't want to use the word hate." But this new email system is not good.
Not user friendly at
Not,
all.
it's not typer friendly, and you guys aren't getting the emails, which is the worst, right? So I apologize for that, but I'm glad you're here, and kudos that you made it for whatever, however you made it and whatever was happening. So okay, I'm going to jump in. In first, not very long, but any questions, thoughts, something that came up about what we covered. I'm going to review it in just a second, but anything about Tuesday that came up? God, I did such a great job. Either I did a terrible job or a great job, you know? Okay, so I'm going to review. We spoke on Tuesday in case somebody's coming for the first time or watch this replay later and didn't hit the other replay play part. This is a two-part masterclass, and it is five real estate moves that are costing you money. So I came about wanting to do this masterclass because of my work with my clients and seeing certain patterns of things that were slowing them down, stopping them, and not and things that were maybe even thought patterns or ways of being, and then things they were doing that was keeping money from coming in for them, right? So there's I actually came up with one more today, so I'm going to give you a bonus one, like a bonus, the sixth one. Then you sit around with me, I'll come up with 900 more. So let's leave it at that. But first of all, I do want to just kind of celebrate my VIPs and the results that they have. I mean, it is, I shared this the last time I was on, is there are times where I want to post and brag about how much money, how, this is going for people, how this real estate business is going. And I don't really post as much as it is because it is so insane, the amounts that it feels like people would be like, oh my God, that's just crazy, right? But it really is insane how well people are doing. One of my clients is more than $600,000 in profit in just a few months. Another one is like 280 some in 2 months. There's Linda sitting with us. She's looking at her first project. This is going to bring her between 60 and 75,000. So and then we start stacking these, right? So it's not just one project. It's, what happens, what happens. Well, hi guys. Good to see you. So, the results are great. And I know it's because we start to avoid some of these moves that people make that stall them. So some of the moves that we talked about already is in the interaction with realtors and basically just trusting realtors with your life, with your real estate investment life. Let's just say that, okay? And I am not bashing realtors at all. And they, when Linda was telling me today that she found a really great one that she's working with. And when you find that realtor, hold on tight, right? But generally, we just want to be careful because the realtor's perspective is different than a real estate investor's perspective. Their perspective is let's move the inventory. I'm going to tell you it's a great deal because it's below what I know to be market. And that doesn't mean that your money is there. There's so many times that I get deals every single day that people say, oh my God, this is a great deal from an investor or another, VIP or something. And I'm like, the numbers aren't there. And so, it can be below market, but you just have to be careful and know what you're doing in terms of making sure your profit is available for you. And realtors, sometimes some of them are out to make their profit, right? And sort of pushing things in a different way, then maybe that is helpful. And what happens is it's about having conflicting agendas, right? So you want to really, I'm going to speak to this in a minute. You want to make sure your guidance is free and clear of a conflicting agenda. Okay. So, a contractor may say, yeah, this is great. Let's expand this house. Let's, dig a new basement, and, it'll be great because it'll be just beautiful in that basement. And the contractor's agenda is, to build the house, to, get money, all the things, right? And then the realtor could be saying, go ahead and buy the house because their agenda is that they get paid if you buy the house. They get, a percentage of profits. And you also want to make sure this is really important. And I did not say this on Tuesday, but it came up to me this week that when you have a realtor representing you, make sure that realtor is representing you. Okay. And this is conflicting agendas because they could get into representing themselves to make it move, to make the deal move so that it sells, right? Or it could be more representing that the whole group, the seller, right? If you're the buyer, you want them to be really careful to represent you. So that means things like explaining the paperwork they gave you, not double charging you for a fee, charging you this and charging somebody else that, all those things. But you should never feel uncomfortable asking for, explain this to me. There's a whole bunch of stuff you just gave me. Go through it all, right? So realtors, what I've seen the most, and this is why I gave this as the number one point, not to bash realtors or tell you not to work with them. And by the way, I'm going to say this again. I say it every single time somebody starts thinking about hiring me as a coach. They say, oh, should I go become a realtor to be able to do this? And my answer is what? No, you do not need to be a realtor to invest in real estate. It's probably better for you if you're not. Okay. Play with the realtors that you find that are good and, that really are helpful for you. But no, even the best realtor can be confronted with a conflicting agenda, with what they want. Maybe they got a car payment to make, so you want to be careful about that. Okay. Then the next piece that we talked about last time was turning things into rentals, and this kind of thought process that we've all been presented with, that if you get a property that you're going to make your money by renting it out to other people because other people will make the mortgage payment for you. Okay. Now, you can do that, and that is one way to run your real estate business, but it is a move that will stall you making a lot of money because you don't make that much money off a rental, and it's the long game, right? So I would say if you're going to do rentals, if you're going to do Airbnbs, everybody loves an Airbnb, but it's the same thing. It's a form of rental. It's a short-term rental. If you're going to do them after you've stacked some cash and you are really, bringing in a few $100,000 and you've got that going on, okay? Because otherwise you're going to kind of be stopped with the property and the mortgage payment and, how you get more funding and all the things for literally years, and then you got all the issues of dealing with people that need stuff and broken stuff in the house and all the things. So that's the second move that people make very regularly. In fact, I shared this on Tuesday. I see it in Facebook groups where people are talking to each other and they're like, I just invested $70,000 to renovate this house and I'm going to go ahead and rent it so I get my money back. Very bad move. You're not going to get your money back for a long time. Go ahead and flip the thing. Okay. The third thing that I talked about on Tuesday, and certainly if you want to take a deeper dive into this, go listen to part one, is the wrong house and the wrong investment. And I don't know if anybody's seen, right after I got off this call on Tuesday, I wrote a post, a Facebook post. My posts are intended to tell you how I can help you, but also to change your sort of point of view sometimes about what you're thinking. And I don't know if you saw the post, but it's about let's find the cheapest house in the neighborhood and let's renovate that. That mindset of the cheapest house is the best. And that is what new flippers, new people in this market look for, even the cheapest in terms of a rental, even the cheapest in terms of whatever in real estate investing. And almost always that is not the best investment. Okay. So wrong house, wrong investment. There's a whole like a checklist of what makes it a good investment, the neighborhood that it's in, the how long things sit on the market, what the other prices of the properties are. There's a whole list of things, how the neighborhood is, if it's in a neighborhood, and I was being kind of like, dramatic about this, but you see people wandering around with a shopping cart full of their clothes in it, and they sleep on the corner at night, is probably, even though you got that thing for $20,000, there's probably a reason, right? So the wrong house and the wrong investment really does stop people. And so knowing how to gauge that, knowing where to look for those properties, knowing how to put it all together and evaluate that is really, really important. And that piece will bring you a lot of money when you know that. Okay. So the fourth, I'm going to move into tonight's processes or tonight's moves that we're going to talk about. And it's the number one thing everybody thinks about when you're moving into real estate investing, and that is what? Money, right? Money. And so I do want to say that you do need to have some money to kind of move in this world, right? So, I mean, there are ways to work things out without any money in real estate investing, but it is complicated and it is not, it's not as clean and it'll stall you. It'll stall you, right? So having a bit of money to move into it, but the number one mistake that people I hear over and over and over again is, I don't have enough money to get into this. I hear it over and over and over again. And there could be some truth to that, but generally people are thinking, I don't have enough to buy a second home out and out. You know what I mean? Like, I just need to save for years and have $200,000 and, have a lot of, that's not for some people, that's not a lot of money, but to have a big pool of money to be able to do this. And you don't need to have that. Like I said, you do need to have some money to be able to move, but you don't have to have all of that. And so the movement of this is to trust that you can get it, right? The movement is to not wait until it all works out, because it'll just there's going to be something that happens, and if you're waiting until it all works out, that really great deal that you found is probably going to be gone because somebody else is going to take it, right? If it's a great deal, you better move, right? So here's another piece about money though that I want to talk about. You guys know about finding money, about, coming with a down payment, and if you don't know, you can work with hard money lenders. You can also find investors. And there's methods for all of that. There's methods to find the hard money lenders and investigate them because some of them are creatures from another outer space thing that are just there to suck your soul and money. So there's methods to make sure that Men in Black, kind of get rid of the ones that aren't the ones you want. And there's also methods for finding investors, for securing them, for signing the contract with them so everybody's clear on what's happening. I have one of my VIPs is going into a project very soon. They thought they were gonna like let the project go, and then it came about. This is what happens all the time, guys, with money, is once you move into this, people get real estate investing. They get it, right? There's people that don't want to go do the flip or do the renovation. They don't want to be buying the deal. But most people understand that real estate is a great return on investment. And they also understand that there's something they can look at. There's a house there, there's bricks and mortar, right? So people get it. And what tends to happen is once you move into this world, is people will come to you and say, I want to invest. I know you're doing this. Can I invest? Right? It happens. You're like, oh no, I got to go ask people. People will walk up to you. Well, so I'm going to share this story. So one of my VIPs, they thought they weren't going to be able to, they had put this house under contract, and then there were several things that were going on with their hard money lender. And the hard money lender had told them, well, now you're going to have to show us that you have like $300,000 in reserves to be able to handle all these houses that you have, which is a problem, you guys. Let me just share this little piece of advice, this move. Okay. If you're playing with hard money lenders, don't always play with one lender. Okay. Because if they know all your business, it can be held against you in the court of law. So you might want to they will give you credit for using them again and again and again, so you can weigh out that. But when you have 4 and 5 projects with one lender, one hard money lender, they start going, you have enough money to make the payments on all of these if something went wrong or something like that. But if you have a couple of different hard money lenders, it can kind of spread out what they're looking at for you, okay? And you will still get credit for the number of projects that you had done, okay? You can say I've done 40 more than 40 um, renovation, flip projects, whatever. And now that I get to be with you guys, I can count that too, because I've been part of that. So anyway, these guys got their hard money lender came to them and said to them, we need you to have like $300,000 in reserves so that we can go to the next lending cycle, the next house that you're purchasing. And they were like, this is why we're using you. If we had $300,000, we wouldn't even be talking to you. You charge us, interest. You charge us origination fees. We can guarantee you, if we had the $300,000, we would not be talking to you. And so they thought that they needed to let go of a couple of the projects because of what the hard money lender was requiring. And so they were letting go of this one that was in Greenville, South Carolina. And somebody comes up to him and says, I want to invest. Do you want to do the project with us? And not only that, but they're going to go find the money. So the investor is carrying the money. And because these guys know what they're doing and they're having so much success, they're carrying the lead in terms of what you do and how you do it, right? So it's a good relationship, right? So this is great for them. They're like, well, yeah. And so what they're doing is they're splitting, of course, who gets the profits, and they're figuring all that out. Well, part of that is being very clear on who's doing what, right? Being very clear on, how that is all splitting up. And it's not so much only about the money, about who gets the profits, but it's like, you're doing the design, you're doing the financing, you know what I mean? Like people have their kind of swim lanes to be in, because it can turn into a cluster if you have a lot of investors. So knowing that way of putting this all together is really, really helpful in putting it in writing. And that's, something that I help many, many VIPs with. But that's one thing to be careful about, is it's not just the investor for the money. Yes, you want the investor for the money. Yes, come to us. But making sure that it's all clear and communicated too. Okay. And here's the thing that I think stands the most in the way of you making tons of money in real estate investing. You ready? You ready? Drum roll. You have a subconscious discomfort with being rich. The amounts of money that we make in through this investing, this method of investing is almost always with my VIPs when we first do the initial planning, they never talk about the amounts of money that is real, that can come, that does come in a short period of time. Because most of them are used to, making $50,000 a year in a salary and thinking that's a good salary, or they're used to their $100,000 a year salary or something like that. And subconsciously, they're just not used to moving in that world, that amount of money, right? And so it's okay. I want to say this. And so what happens is you get afraid and then you starting to sabotage it. Like, oh, I don't know. I don't have what I need. I don't know how to do it. It's all that, excuse and all of that. So I want to tell you in terms of the money that if you have somebody there guiding you, you can still be scared. You can still be like trying to sabotage and still get rich. Okay. It's not that you have to fix all of this or you have to figure it out or dig down and get the subconscious stuff out of there. You can be scared and still be rich with real estate. And I love that about real estate because for years and years and years, I had this like message of like, oh, the energy is off. And if I just do this, like, healing, or if I think this way in the positive way, it's then it'll, I'll just flow in. And what I love about real estate is you still have that. I mean, you can have some mindset glitches, like you can sabotage yourself and not move forward. That's what I'm talking about right now. But you also have strategies that you can move and make money while you're still scared, right? It's not an either or. And I see it all the time. As long as I'm in there or somebody's in there to help, like say, okay, let's go. You can be scared and let's go. Let's go, right? You're scared. I got it. You feel like you're in a boat with no oar. I'm your oar. Let's go. I'll be your oar. So that is a big, we can talk till we're blue in the face about finding money, doing money, but what is really stalling almost everyone is that subconscious discomfort with being rich. And if I asked you that on the street, like if I had a mic and I was on the street and I was like, hey, do you feel uncomfortable with being rich? You'd be like, heck no, give me the money. But when it comes to it, having the mindset that allows you to think in a way that allows it to come and allows you to move and allows it to flow for a lot of people is very, very difficult. Okay. One more piece that I'm going to say about the money, and then I'm going to move on is, and actually, I'm just going to stop for a minute and ask for questions because money's a big topic here, right? Money's a really big topic when you're, investing in anything. You're investing in anything, right? So, where you get it, how you get it is important. The subconscious being comfortable with getting it, and then also knowing how much you need, right? Being clearer about how much you need it because you don't need, $300,000. You don't need even, I mean, $100,000 will get you a couple of projects. I mean, that's comfortable, but you don't have to um wait really, because usually we can figure this out. And then the other part of the money that stalls people is they tend to like come into this and they don't think about the big picture. Like, where are we going in the big picture? They're just thinking about project, this project, this project, this project. And when you think that way, you tend to get overreactive if something costs $5,000, or you tend to not see that you're going somewhere a lot bigger than where you are. Okay. So it's important to be thinking about this in terms of where is this going in terms of you and the big picture for you and your family or whatever. And what are you doing as you sell one project or when you walk into another one project? Are you waiting for that project to be over until you start another, right? The way that I roll and the way that's gonna that's not a move that's gonna make you lots of money because you'll just sit there, right? The move that makes you money is to be moving into a project and then get it going and being like, where's the next one? Where's the next one? Where's the next one? Right? So, and that's where a little bit of discomfort comes too, because it's like, I don't know, maybe I'll just wait and see how this goes. Which brings me to my bonus. I'm gonna scoot to the bonus move that is costing you money or slowing you down, and that is waiting. Waiting until it's all right, waiting until you have everything you need, waiting until you've learned it all. If you knew it all, you'd be doing it already, dudes. I mean, this is why you're sitting here today talking to a coach who teaches about this because I know and you know that you don't know all of it. It's okay you don't know it all. If you knew it all, you'd be somewhere else right now, at the movies, eating popcorn, whatever, It's you don't have to know everything. And the other part that I love about this, I've been doing this for 30 years and I know a lot. I know most, but I don't know everything. I still learn stuff, and we're all sharing stuff with each other, right? And if I wait until I know, like I'm moving into a new level in investing right now, and I'm trying to, I'm moving some of my clients along with that too, right? We're going to go here and then we're going to go there. And if I waited until I knew everything, I wouldn't do it. You know, a lot of this is permission to be on the job training and to have someone that's a few steps ahead of you that can give you information and hold your hand and and help you through. But if you do not know this and you are scared, and it is okay. And what we want to do is we have a culture of comfort. I've heard some gurus say that the that comfort is the new cigarette smoking, that it is so dangerous and so hard that people won't, if it's uncomfortable, they won't move, right? And so if you want to be rich, you're going to have to be, I'm not telling you to overwork. I'm not telling you to like kill yourself. I am telling you to eat every day, Linda. I am telling you to go outside and enjoy the sunshine. We had this conversation this week. Go eat. All these other people are eating. Go eat. um, but you can be uncomfortable because growth happens when you're growing. It's not comfortable. If you're not growing, you're comfortable. You're just sitting there like, not doing anything. So the growth process is, but that's why people get rich because they're moving and they're moving in discomfort, not to overwhelm, not to, crisis state, but they are moving and growing. Okay. And that is this inability to move is really holding most people back from making money, truly, and we want to like, here's what with money too. Let me just say this thing with money is some people love numbers. Anybody on here that loves numbers, loves math, all the things? The one, those of you who love that are going to have to manage your mind during this process because you can get into the weeds looking at the numbers, looking at how this fits together, looking at the what ifs. If this does this, then this does this, and then this does this, and this does this. And you can literally not do anything because you are studying the numbers so hard. And this can happen with anything in this process, like the design, like, is quartz better than, than granite? what are all the homes, the new homes, what are they putting in? Granite, go put granite in, right? I mean, you just can get into overthinking. So, and my point about this is that it's okay, it's where you are, but having somebody else to reflect this off of you, right? But in terms of the money, at some level, you've got to like run your numbers and be responsible, but not look at it from 400 different ways because you will never move if that happens. You really just won't. I had one client that it was just like, if you tell me one more number before you make an offer on this place, I know it. I've done this for 30 years. I'm telling you that it's okay. We've gone over this 6 times in our coaching sessions. If you don't make an offer, I'm going to take the project because I know the numbers work. That's it. Just stop, right? And so this I'm going to stop right here during the money thing, and let's have some conversation about money and being rich and all the things. So, what are you thinking when I say all this? And probably when I say money, a lot of people are like, so what do you just tell me? I mean, and I'll get more specific because it's hard when you ask these broad-based questions to answer them. But in terms of feeling like you're ready to move with money or questions about money for a flip, what is top of mind right now?
Well, I just appreciate like also making a move, taking action, and getting the ball rolling is part of the journey, like it's part of the process. And
The
so
first part.
to just sit is
Yeah.
not going to get anything moving. And yeah, I love what you're talking about with running the numbers. You can sit and work numbers all day, but at some point you're going to have to move. And so,
And one of the things you're going to have to be careful about is like all the gurus out there. I have my thing too that I give you where you can run the numbers because it's important to run the numbers, right? I have the budget. Mine is very simple. Mine's, you could understand it very simply. And a lot of the gurus out there have these and they can get very complicated and very detailed. And you could get 4 or 5 of them and try to do 4 or 5 to look at it this way, look at it that way. Please don't do that. Just delete it out of your mailbox because it's going to drive you nuts, and it's going to drive me nuts. So you don't need to have, basically it's kind of simple. And I wish Chad was here right now. He's one of my VIPs, and they're a couple that's doing really well. And we did an interview together, and he was like, I used to be so scared to do this, and I used to think I didn't understand how all this worked or the numbers worked. And he was like, now that I'm in it, it's really kind of cut and dried. It's pretty simple. And what we try to do is complicate it because, it must be complicated because people make lots of money, right?
that gives us security if it's difficult and complicated. Yeah, talking about the
Yeah,
subconscious beliefs. Yeah.
well, and the thing is, if you try to do this yourself, I'm going to talk about guidance, next. And if you try to do this yourself, it's going to slow you down. You're probably not going to make money or as much for sure, right? I'm going to ask Linda a little bit about that, what she's learned in the last week about, you know, doing it yourself and, in guidance. Yeah.
Well, I don't think I would be right here where I am today in this project without your help and the constant communication back and forth about, because when you're a newbie, you're not sure, and you need that hand holding because you're not sure. And so my thing is that, you know, I don't want to I don't want to be insecure, but I want assurance as I'm making the decisions, you know?
And then
And
thinking about it from different perspectives too.
right,
Yeah.
right. And
Yeah.
for me, the last day or two, it's been really about um, get securing the funding. Okay. Like, all right, I've got this term sheet, and I'm looking over the term sheet, but then someone else calls and they're saying, well, these are my terms. And I'm like, okay, like today, I had to literally sit down with two term sheets because they were so different. And I needed Paula's help because I really have never done that before. Like,
Yeah.
didn't even know what some of the terms were. It's like a whole different language.
And
So
they make them kind of convoluted on purpose. You know,
yes,
they could say this stuff a lot easier, you know.
yeah, yeah.
It's a kind
So
of a game too, right? So
right.
yeah, yeah. Well, and so that's part of the thing too of guidance. And this kind of leads me, it's money and guidance kind of go
Yeah.
together. There's a lot of people out there in this world that are not, doing the right thing, right?
Mhm.
Like funders,
Yes.
teachers. I mean, and so it's hard to know what to
Mm.
trust and who to trust. And I find that even with people that like Juliana has done some real estate investing, and I'm not going to say this is you, but I find it with people that even have done that in real estate investing, they kind of get in their groove of what the way that they've done it because they don't know how to look toward the other things that could help them out, right? Because there's so much that you don't trust and don't know and all the things. Whereas doing it just that one way, and I've learned this the hard way, is might probably be holding down your money, that you could make a lot more money in different ways, right? In
Mhm.
this process. So it's not only the newbies, it's all of us that, are kind of figuring that out in a
Mhm.
way. And I have a lot of confidence and assurance about it. And I like, I was just like, these are the three things to ask them. This, and this. Don't tell them anything else. Don't say anything else.
Right.
One, two, three. That's all. It should be a 10-minute conversation. I don't care if he's busy. 10 minutes he's got.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so that's the kind of thing that, but this money thing, I mean, for all of us, it's a loaded trigger, right? We don't want to lose money. You know, we want to make sure that, we're on track to make money, a lot of money, and we want to make a lot of money, right? Not just money, but a lot of money. So we have to have some, I'm going to tell you to keep your bar high in terms of your profits. You'll get excited and want to do this, and then you'll want to like skew your profits down just so you can do the project because it's exciting and it's fun to see the house be so pretty and all the things.
Mm.
And then you can start going, well, if I make 20,000 out of this, no, I want you to keep your bar
Mhm.
high
Mhm.
because the only way you're going to manage your mind on this and you're going to make a shit ton of money is by keeping your standards high, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Anything else about money? Top of mind, just top of mind. Doesn't have to be. And you don't have to say, I have a net value of 1.2 million. I mean, then when, we're in a group thing, I'm not asking you to say that. Just questions in terms of moving forward.
You have to first have initial the money to secure the property, but then you're thinking about the renovation money. You
Okay, so
have to also
this is
have.
great. Okay, so this is where a lot of people think I have to buy the property and then I have to have enough to renovate it.
Mhm.
And so that's where the big money, like I need to have $300,000 to be able to do this, right? Because where do I get the money to? And Linda used to ask me that, like, well, okay, we can buy the house, but where do I get the money to renovate it? Or I can use my HELOC to renovate it, but how do I buy the house, right? And so what you'll do is don't worry about that because you'll put it all together in one thing. So it becomes not just the house and not just the renovation budget, but the whole thing is $300,000 or $315,000 together. And
Mhm.
then what you'll worry about, we're going to find, hard money lenders or investors or whatever. You'll worry about they'll fund all of it, most of it, except for the part you need to put a down payment, so your skin in the game. And depending on the amount of experience that you've had, all the other things, the credit score, all the other things will be what they, what your rate will be and how much you got to put down. Okay. Generally, if you are a first time investor, like you're flipping, and by the way, I talked about this the last time we got together. You'll hear me talk about flipping as real estate investing. Everyone who's involved with me, I totally know and believe that going through the flip process 2 to 3 times at least is the best way to teach you real estate. It's
Mhm.
on-the-job training. It teaches you almost everything you could need to learn: how to find a property, how to find value, how to know what value you can create, what to do to renovate, how to find funders, how to find investors. All of the things are taught in the flipping. Plus, you make a lot of money quickly. Okay, you're going to make more than 6 figures, multiple 6 figures in my world. Every one of my VIPs, not just one, every one of my VIPs makes multiple 6 figures. I'm not lying. It's just what happens. So, because I know what to do, I know how to support those kind of things, right? But once you get through flipping, there's many other things you can do as a real estate investor, So you're going to hear me talking about flipping, but that's because that's what I take you through in terms of teaching you. And that's what I know will give you the best basis. So back to flipping, depending on how many projects you've done, and this could be over time. This could be 10 years, 15 years. Like Juliana, if you've bought and sold houses or you built your own house or something like that, that can be counted as a project. Okay. So generally, if you don't have any experiences and you're a United States citizen, you generally, to get it financed, the whole thing, the house and the renovation budget is generally you need to bring 20% to the table. Okay.
Mhm.
But after that, it goes down to 10. Sometimes it's 100% financing, you know. And now if you're outside of the United States, if you're not a US citizen, because I do have a VIP client coming on who is not a US citizen, she's working on a business visa, and she needs to bring 35% to the table. That's, you know, so thankfully we're working, and that's the other thing. I'm like, okay, we're not doing all this. We're going to find investors. Let's figure this out, right? So that's what we do in those kind of situations. Okay. Anything else about money? Because I'm going to go into guidance. All right. So guidance is probably the most important move that is going to help you move along and will hold you from making money or doing or not making money. Being a lone wolf in this, doing it by yourself, worst case scenario.
Mhm.
Sitting here right now, you've probably listened to me for, the last 2 days, and you've probably taken like 3 or 4 key points, which is fine. That's what my goal was. And then the rest of it, you're like, what the hell is she talking about? It's like, okay, I'll get this eventually. So don't overwhelm yourself. That's how it rolls. And when you're by yourself and you're trying to put this together or using Chat GPT trying to put this together, it gets really crazy. So being a lone wolf is just like the worst thing. It'll cost you so much money. It'll stall you. You probably will lose money if you flip by yourself. I have people call me all the time and meet with me and tell me they're realtors even, and their husband's a GC, telling me the story of how they heard flipping, how they, and they went and just did this and they lost, the thing sat on the market for months and they lost more than $15,000. So, being a lone wolf is just like, no, that's just out. Let me just say
Mhm.
that to you. Don't do that. And so then the next thing is, where do I find guidance, right? Because, there's lots of people out there, and I'm going to tell you how you can figure out if the guidance is right for you. If the person is telling you how I'm going to teach you how to use my method and it's so complicated you can't understand it,
Mhm.
run. I can tell you some big name gurus that are out there that have hundreds and hundreds, thousands of people that'll pay them for their system. And it's so complicated that and they'll try to tell me the system they're using. And by now I know what it is basically, but I have a hard time like, okay, so you do this with the seller and then you do that with the, it's so complicated that they did it fine, they figured it out, but everybody else rarely makes money from it. Okay,
Mhm.
it's too complicated. That person is not a good guidance person unless you hear their system and you get it and you're like, okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense to me, let me go. If you're like, huh, you know, and then the next piece is if it's a really big group of people that you're going in and you're like, there's 1,000 people or 500 people or 20 people in a group, and you've got this system you're trying to use and you can't talk to anybody, that's like being a lone wolf. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that kind of guidance, you want to be careful about being able to have the person that can, talk to you, that, can interact, can send the note, can be on Vox or whatever it is. But guidance is really important. We've already established that. But where you find it and how you get it is really, really important. Okay. It's almost as important as not being a lone wolf,
Mhm.
because, and you can figure out all the reasons, right? And then the next piece of the guidance that is really important to think about when you're finding guidance is what is the agenda, right? Because there's real estate agents that'll give you guidance to buy something, to flip something, right? And then you need to think to yourself, what's the agenda? Or a contractor that's giving you guidance, that's offering their services, what's the agenda, right? So you always want to be thinking not from the perspective of I don't trust anybody, everybody, no, it's just sort of like what can they give me guidance from the perspective of a step back that that they want me to make the profit, that my profit, my personal profit is the most important thing in this relationship. Okay. So when you're looking for guidance and you're looking into that, think about that, right? So every single big program, every single, even if it's a one-on-one realtor or a one-on-one your sister or your brother, that has done this a few times, is the guidance um, about you and your profit. Okay. That is the best to be as a litmus test to figure it out. We've already established, doing it yourself is you're not going to make, you can make money. You can do this certainly yourself, but we're talking about the moves that'll keep the money away that won't move you very fast. So this move of finding guidance is a really good one, but find the guidance that's really focused on your profits. Okay. Yeah. All right. How y'all doing? Talk to me.
How do you discern the guidance that's right for you? Like, I think, you and I were talking about one of the lenders today, and he basically said to me, you know, I try not to do a lot of hand holding with my clients because I want them to learn the system. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, I'm borrowing $300,000. Why should I have to? You need to hold my hand. You need to tell me everything.
You need
So,
to walk me through. Why am
yeah,
I paying this? Who does this go to? Why is this? And not just tell me to go use a portal, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, well, that you sort of understood right away that
yeah,
is not bye bye.
right, right.
I mean, there's a part of me that wants to put up my middle finger right now. I mean,
Yeah.
that is certainly not a person that's interested in your profit. This is the litmus test. Ask yourself, what is he interested in?
Hmm.
Tell me, what is he interested in? He's interested in you moving fast,
Yes.
his stuff, so he makes the money and he can go get five other clients in the next hour,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He's it's not his and it's not even well spoken about. I mean, you could think he'd at least get sales training and be able to say, I don't want to hold people's hands. I mean, you'd think at least he would not be saying that.
Right. Right.
It is pretty evident this is not your guy, right? And it's kind
Yes.
of interesting how this works, isn't it? Because the reason you were talking to him is you know another person who uses him and likes him a lot,
Yes.
right? And so for her, it may, that is fine. That makes
Yeah.
sense. So again, the guidance is personalized, right? That
Yeah.
you want it to feel right for you and
Yes.
you want to have access. And again, always the litmus test, whose profits are they worried about?
Hmm.
You know?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also trusting your own intuition. Like
Oh,
it's
absolutely. Trust your gut.
being confident that, wait a minute, something isn't right. And if it doesn't feel right, then it's not right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
then giving yourself permission to say, I need to move on.
Yeah. And this is not right for me.
Yeah.
There's other options. And I
Yeah.
love the perspective you took. I'm getting ready to pay you money, to pay you interest, to work with you on
Yeah.
all of this stuff that's going to benefit you and your company for $300,000. Why aren't we dancing better? You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yes.
So that is a really good point with the guidance. How do you figure it out? One, trust your gut.
Mhm.
Whose profits are they concerned about? And many people that are in this world, they don't, they, you'll know it right away. Won't you? You'll know
Mhm.
it right away, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had real estate agents say, I really just need this to close in the next 2 weeks because I just need to move on. Well, yeah, you need to move on. See you later. You know,
Mhm. Yeah. Yes.
who is this about, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So the guidance, and for me, one other piece of that is the person capable of taking the time to explain it to me in a way that I get it and I can move on it,
Hmm.
I can understand, right? So
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna use the name, but there's a person out there that talks about Gator being a Gator and going out and finding sub two leases and then finding the contract based on sub two leases and then I mean it's the whole thing and it's very complicated. I don't want that person as my guidance
Hmm.
because I got enough headache in my life. I don't want another headache. I want to make six figures. I don't want to, like, I already have enough question about how does this work, and you probably have enough question about what is work to put one more layer of super complication on it.
Hmm.
No, right? I just want to know, what are the 5 steps to running the numbers? Does this work? What's the ARV? Can I make my profit? And
Hmm.
then let's go or not, right?
Hmm.
So that the probably of course money's important, figuring that out, but this guidance piece is I save the best for last. It's really, really important not to do it alone, but
Hmm.
also where you're finding it. And I don't usually use guidance of people. Oh, there's another big guy out there that is good. He teaches really well. Just go listen to his YouTube because you don't, but now he's got it figured out where you sign up on his YouTube channel and you give him you can't listen to it unless you give him your email and stuff. And then his company is calling you every day, all the time to sell you, to sell you, to sell
Hmm.
you. And I just like, Okay. It's
Yeah.
not so complicated. He's good at what he teaches and stuff, but it's still that kind of agenda of, now for me, I'm a coach, right? I think my guidance is great for all of you that are on this call, right? I'll just claim that. I think it's, perfect for you. And you probably think so too, because you wouldn't have come 2 times, right? The
Yes.
people that didn't think it was so great, they didn't come tonight, or they have other stuff to do. But I charge, I do, there's a fee that you pay me, right? But but there is an agenda that you don't lose money, that you have profits. If you're not ready to do this, there's not an agenda to talk you into it. In fact, I will run so far, so fast from that.
Mhm.
Because if I've talked you into it, when it gets hard or scary or whatever, how engaged are you going to be? I'm going to be pulling that wagon. So that's the thing that's the difference is, am I in this to reflect back that you make the money? I'm celebrating your business.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Questions, thoughts?
So I have a question, and my question is, when do you finally come to the realization that the deal's not working, or that you have to push past the opposition or the resistance that you feel is coming against you?
That's why
So,
guidance is really helpful. Yeah.
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 So, when do you know, it's time to just wave the white flag and move on? Because I feel like I'm there. I
Oh,
feel like,
really?
well, no, I feel like I'm trying to figure that out.
Oh, okay.
I'm not there, but I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure that out. When
Okay.
is that point?
I think you go to whoever's your guide and say, this is where I am. I think, you have to say, the first is, does this deal work? That's the first
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Does this deal work?
Yeah.
Can
Check.
I sell it? Can I make the money?
Yeah.
Does this deal work? Okay, that's the first thing. If it
Yeah.
doesn't work, then bye.
Right.
Don't try to make it work,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's number one. Number two is, if the deal works, what is the resistance? Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
what's bringing me the resistance right now? And kind of going through that,
Mm-hmm.
is it that I, don't understand how the financing works? Is
Yeah.
it that I'm tired? Is it,
Yeah.
all the things? Is I'm trying to push too hard, too fast?
Yes.
So that could be where, if that's where the resistance is and the answer from you is coming yes, then take a break, look,
Yeah.
just kind of look back on it. And by the way, I'm going to say this about financing. Most of it is pretty similar with these hard money lenders. Most of it's, it's not, it could get down to $5,000, $10,000, right? And in the scheme of things, if you're going somewhere, right, you're going to millions, you're
Yeah.
going to six figures. Some of you are
Yeah.
like, don't talk to me about millions. That's such BS. Okay, so it's not BS, but okay, if you're going to six figures, what really does $5,000 have to do with it? Do you really need to be that caught up in it, right? Do you really? So,
Gotcha.
I mean, and I'm just going to address you right now, coach, for a minute. You've got three funders right now. One you're not interested in because the guy's okay. So now you've got two.
Yeah. Yes.
One, gave you a deal that you got to bring a lot to the table. So unless you can get that sorted out, that's off the table too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So then the other one is just working through the process of the third one that has a pretty good deal.
Yes.
But there's, maybe $5,000 there, a spoonful of dirt that you don't want to eat. But, does this make sense moving you towards something bigger? Is the money there? Is the profit there? Does this deal make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And is the resistance just about, I don't like this $5,000? That's what you got to sort of sort through.
Gotcha.
Does
I
that make
understand.
sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
And if you get to the place where, I have had these deals where it's been like one thing after another is not working out.
Right.
This is not your deal. It's
Right.
one thing after another. There's, this didn't happen, that didn't happen, this didn't happen. That is the universe saying, girl, run. Every time that I have done it and said I'm still going forward,
Yeah.
every time in 30 years that I have done this, when this wasn't working, that wasn't working, I pushed, I stressed, it just, instead of like saying, okay, God, what do you want? I surrender. I just was like, I'm gonna make this work. And then every time it was a shit show.
Hmm.
It was like, the best way that you're going to know how it's going to go is how it's going, right?
Right.
But I think you've just got a blip here about you're moving into, by the way, these finance people are making their money. They know you're only holding their money for a short period of time. So
Hmm.
you're used to a mortgage rate of, I mean, now they're high, higher, maybe
Yeah.
7, 8%. You're used to that. But these guys are talking about like 10 or 11%. And they have to because they need to make their money off of you before you sell this house,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
they're taking origination fees, and you just know that this project, if it's good enough and the profits are there, that it's worth it. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
And you're going to only do this, guys, listen, the money thing. You're going to stack profits. This is my secret that I teach everybody. Nobody knows this on the Facebook groups. When I say, are you stacking profits? They're like, what? You're going to stack profits and you're only going to deal with these people a couple of times.
Hmm.
Okay. And unless you're running like when you come out of the chute and you're running 3 projects at once, right out of the chute, then you're going to deal with them for a bit. But, once you start stacking profits, you're going to have investors that are coming to you, and you're also going to not be dealing with them. So it's kind of like, when you start a new business. Anybody started a new business before? You put money in, right? You got to
Right.
put money in. And this is the best and fastest return. I've been coaching for 7 years, and now it's like 6 years in and I'm not, just making a profit, right? I mean, it's like, and I spend so much money on other coaches teaching me how to be a coach and all the things. But it's this is the best business that somebody called me the other day and said, I'm getting ready to retire and I want to start a business. And she knew I was a business coach. She's like, so can you, help me figure out what business is right for me and what I need to do to kind of supplement my retirement. And I was like, I got the business for you. You're not even going to care about your retirement.
Right.
And this is also a business that you can walk out and not worry about it after a while,
Mhm.
right? You can have your team that if you operate in one area, you can kind of have a team that you love and do that thing. Okay. So, if you have interest in talking to me about my guidance and my coaching, send me a note. Don't wait, because if you wait, you won't do it later. You'll start getting afraid. You'll start thinking about all the reasons, and then just move. Just do it.
Mhm.
If it's not right, I'm going to tell you if I don't think it's right. I've had that conversation with a couple of you. I didn't think it was right at the time. And if it's not right, we're going to know if we're right for each other, if I'm the right guidance for you, right? You're going to know that. And so just send me a note and we'll connect. Right now, people always ask me, well, how are some different ways I can get involved with you? So right now, I do mostly VIP one-on-one coaching. And the reason I do that is because the results are insane.
Mhm.
Your ROI in the first month of what you invest with me may be 10x. I mean, the reason I do that, and because I know that works when I'm there with you, we're going through this, together. I also have a mastermind, and that meets 2 times a month. It's a rolling mastermind that you can join in. It is not me, I still give you support in all the things. It's a smaller group of people on purpose. I don't have 100 people in there, but it is more of you doing than me bringing. If you're working with me one-on-one, not only are you getting my brain and my knowledge, but also the resources. I mean, Beverly's on with me. She's on my team. She helps find projects for people. She runs your comps. She, works with the other realtors to keep them in line. And, she does all that stuff. And then, we have preferred providers who are funders, who are contractors. So you have my resources as well, which is it's a whole process of success. So right now that's how the best way to work with me, the VIP, because the results are insane. But I also do have a mastermind, and if you're already doing some real estate and you just want to like audit it, like, go through like, what could I do better? What could I do different? I'm glad to do an audit with you. 1 session, 2 sessions, we can figure that. We could do that as well. All right.
Mhm.
All right, everybody. It's been great. I loved it.
Yeah, thank you, Paula. That was good information.
You're welcome. And you guys will get the replay. So jump into the Facebook group. I'll go live in there every once in a while. I'm thinking about doing, you guys tell me if you think this would be kind of fun. I'm thinking about going live and calling it Flip Tips, and just giving like just a little bit that's a tip, because not so much, just do this. So
Yeah,
design this way, or run your budget this way, or that kind of thing.
yeah.
So, and by the way, I do have a podcast. We've got about, I don't know, 50 episodes already filmed. That, unless if it gets delayed one more time, I'm murdering the producer. Like literally, you guys, I'll be in jail. You guys will have to help me go flip a property. I need some help. But it's scheduled to go live. We're going to do a live broadcast on April the 9th.
Mhm.
So if you'll put that, it'll be in the evening, because I like to do this stuff when people get off of work, and some of you guys are coaches and you're coaching all day and all the things. So it'll be in the evening, and we'll do a live broadcast, and I'll take questions if you want to ask questions. But that starts April 9th, and on YouTube. It'll be primarily on YouTube. So, okay.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening.
Yeah,
We'll see you
thank
soon.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, Paula.
You're welcome.